From the Newstalk ZB newsroom, this is Newsfix.
In this update, the flag is being raised over the Waitangi Treaty grounds where a crowd of thousands, including families, children and politicians, have gathered under the stars for the dawn ceremony. Senior political reporter Sophie Trigger is there.
The sun is rising over a still morning at the Waitangi Treaty grounds, 184 years since the signing of Te Tiriti. Some speakers' reflections have focused on its importance, with historian Dr. Alastair Rees describing the treaty as a love story. He said he believed it to be an act of love from the government to Māori, which was met by murmurs of agreement from some attendees.
Prime Minister Chris Luxon, Labour leader Chris Hipkins, ACT leader David Seymour and outgoing Green Party co-leader James Shaw have all spoken. Seymour's reading caused a stir, with some people telling him to sit down. The country's biggest bank has been blasted for missing an important email about the risk of investment scams. Banking Ombudsman Nicola Sladen sent an email to the financial sector last March warning of the rise in fake term deposit schemes. But it wasn't seen by the ANZ because it got caught in its spam filter. Consumer NZ boss John Duffy says the bank should have the most sophisticated systems. A stark warning: the world may have already surpassed the global warming danger point. An Australian-led study has analysed chemical changes in sea sponges to look at fluctuations in sea temperature changes beyond sea surface records. It suggests the world's already tipped beyond the 1.5 degrees Celsius pre-industrial limit agreed upon by nearly 200 nations in the Paris Climate Accord. Author Malcolm McCulloch of the University of Western Australia says this brings the clock forward on the impacts of climate change by about a decade.
So things that we're thinking would have happened 10 years hence are now actually happening now, and the emissions are very high still.
That's news. In sport, Kane Williamson has reflected on his record 232-run third-wicket partnership with Rachin Ravindra for New Zealand against South Africa. Williamson finished on 118, but Ravindra advanced to 240 as part of 511. The visitors are 80 for 4 in reply, heading into the third day of the opening cricket test at Mount Maunganui.
We did a lot of the groundwork and they were extremely disciplined with the ball. Didn't offer a lot, and it sort of sat on the surface. It was quite difficult to use the pace, trying to basically up the run rate from a position of strength.
India's levelled the 5-match test series against England at 1-1 after a 106-run win in the second test in Vizag. And Sri Lanka's claimed a 10-wicket win over Afghanistan in their one-off test in Colombo. The boss of Formula One team Red Bull, Christian Horner, is under investigation after an unspecified complaint was made against him. Horner says he completely denies the allegations. That's sport. I'm Jodie Gill.
For more news, listen to Newstalk ZB live on iHeartRadio.